They'll keep a sharp watch here.
Hello, hello. Another day, another stream. This is where we left off. We took out a camp. So let's see where our next quest is. In Megaris. Besieging bandits. I guess that looks okay. There's a bounty on the mercenary. Where is that mercenary? Whoops. No. It was the wrong button. But at least I reminded myself where the block key is in case I ever need it. Okay, somewhere here was another mercenary, if I remember. Not mercenary, cultist, if I remember correctly. Oh, but right, where was the mercenary? It's always a little weird when stuff doesn't show up. Let's see, what levels does it say is this area? Doesn't really say, but I guess we'll go here and find out. Oh, now it shows me the mission objective. Over there in focus, okay. And Megaris is down there. So I guess I could do that next. That sounds about right. Hello Bones, how's it going? Hope you're having a good morning. Let's just do the usual run a few 100 meters to get to our next synchronization point and see what happens. Come on. Can't be that hard to walk over that little hill. If I'm sounding a little weird, I've been like fighting a little cold the last couple days. I'll try to... Okay. I'll try to... Oh, hello bear. No bear wants to play. That's what fire usually does. Oh look, he's doing the, what is it, reclining lotus? What's it called? Praying dog, whatever it was called. that yoga pose. Very good posture. Very well done. I have a fair few meetings today. Well then, I hope the meetings will be enjoyable. I know that depending on the kinds of meetings that your company usually holds, they're either, you know, just okay but slight interruptions but necessary, to, you know, why did someone schedule this and why isn't it prepared better? I hope it's some of the useful ones. Downwards dog, thank you, that was what I was thinking of. Just, words are hard, especially today. Oh, that's a bird, not loot. Okay, never mind. Durfee Peak, okay. So yeah, fighting a tiny cold. I'll try to mute when I have to cough or something. I did that the last couple days, but I might not always. Okay, that was just a petal or something that looked like I could interact with that. Oh no. Actually works, okay. Anyway, so I'll try to mute myself when I need to cough, but if it doesn't work, my apologies in advance. Alright, let's see, what else can we do? We wanted to find someone here. But I guess we'll just do the synchronization points for now and see what that gives us. Cataractus Cave, oh. I think cataract basically means waterfall. Although it's I think it's being used more symbolically in most modern languages. Like they adopted, you know, words like waterfall for the actual waterfalls, and then the Greek word was used to describe waterfall-like structures. So let's see where it's marked where this cave is. Down there. So I guess we'll take a slight detour and see where it is. That's the nice thing about a game like this, you can explore so much. Although I'm kind of you know, looking forward to getting back to the main story again. But we need at least that one more level before we can continue with that. So that'll be one of the reasons. Oh, someone left a lot of wood here. Anyway, so yeah, if you hear cataract, you probably heard that word for, like, I don't know, medical conditions or whatever.
If you're looking for the farmer, you just missed him. Take the road headed east.
Well, we can loot something, and apparently we can swim here. I think I should be climbing here. Ah, good. Gave us a ladder. Well, she wrote me a letter, said she couldn't live without me no more. Listen, mister, can't you see I got to get back to my baby once more? Anyway. Oh. A lot of treasure. It's not even theft if I just take it down here while nobody's around, apparently. This cave is about. They told me to follow a farmer. Looked like there was something here, but I guess it's not. Continue to the cave at the waterfalls. I'm so glad I didn't set myself on fire by stepping over that brazier by accident. Alright. Here we are. East would be right of the cave. Taxman. Well, I guess we'll go to this location first, then we can fast travel around as wildly as we want to. Hopefully find a good place. Okay, that's not the best way to go. Maybe we should just go downstairs somewhere. Leisurely jogs through the park. Isn't this nice? Oh, and we should probably get our horse. Alright. Oops, I missed some loot.
Whoa.
There it was. Destroy the
Move
grain
out of my
silo.
way!
Simply shoot a fire arrow at the hatches. Or equip something or other. Oh, okay.
Off we go now.
So grain silos are... Now I know what these things are for. These round
Now,
hovels.
out of the way.
Let's go.
Alright, but we really wanted to go over there somewhere.
Ella.
I'm kind of wondering, like, you know, like the
Move.
story never really gave me a reason to conquer the area, and I'm wondering if they introduced it this early, are they expecting me to conquer stuff, or you know, just as a matter of course, so it wasn't necessary to explain it?
Come on.
Or did they, you know, just decide, you know, to
Let's go.
introduce it early on so you know what it is, and then there's a point in the story where it says, well, now you should really get to taking over stuff. Like, that's a bit of an, like, it's a well done game, you don't really, you know, it's not really unclear what to do, you have many things to do. But,
Let's go.
I'm still a bit confused, about,
Come on.
you know, like, I kind of, you can trust the developers.
Tickets are free for first timers.
I guess not. I don't know what that was all about. Whoops. And I didn't mean to go in there. Let's climb up here. But anyway, so like if you wanted to make the
Should try
perfect
to
game
stay
out
out
of
of sight.
this... Oh, okay. I guess I don't really want to... There. Okay. Went around it, that's good. Yeah, so if you wanted to make this the perfect game, you would kind of want to give slightly more directions, I think, in that area. You know, it's always, the problem is always like, how much do you front load? But the thing is, why did they tell us about conquest battles this early then, if it's not going to be relevant right now? Like, is it just so you can walk through the world and see all these things and know, okay, this is what I could do there? Again, it's a bit of a clash between the Assassin's Creed and the role-playing elements. That in an Assassin's Creed game you would just, you know, do that. You would just conquer everything and it would be fine, you know, because there's a mechanic and you're supposed to exercise it, basically. But in a role-playing game with consequences and decisions, why would you, you know, like, why would you just take over a country, basically? Alright, so we've synchronized here. What's the next thing to do? I guess there's something up there as well. There's another undiscovered location basically ahead of us. Kind of want to climb in some spots, but I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. Sacrifices. Down. Okay. Oh wait, is this the? No, doesn't look like. That's the spot we should stay away from. Good. So let's see, what is the... Oh, there is the leader here, so I guess that's the leader house.
Jay, did you hear about the new barracks being built? Yeah, I overheard the commander say...
If he has guards with him, that's fine. Okay, somewhere...
Everyone's talking.
Can I...
Get your head out.
Oh, that's the slave market, okay. So if I had to exercise the ability to take over a country, that would probably be the starting place. Athenian leadership. Death and taxes. Alright, there's something else over there. But I guess we'll just fast travel back here for now and just unlock the entire area, and then we'll hopefully see where the cultist is or something like that. Or I guess we should help people on this island. Landing from this height in these, you know, haystacks, bushes, piles of petals, it's always a bit ridiculous, but, you know, I guess they had it in the first game and had to keep it because it's such a archetypical moment for Assassin's Creed games now. It feels more like an, you know, one like a travel convenience, and on the other hand like an Easter egg for, you know, the players, just to just be able to jump down there, you know. It's more a pretty moment than anything important. I guess in the previous games it was more important because you could actually jump in there and hide inside the haystacks, but as you see in this game, you just jump right out of the haystack again. So they just decided not to have this mechanic. bears. Guess we dropped that other bear down there. Yep. Wrong button. By the way, I watched someone else play some earlier parts of this game recently, and they happened to just come to the Caledonian boar fight. Now they were playing on a higher difficulty, but they still had a lot of problems with it. And one thing I noticed was that they actually had an ability that would be very helpful that I totally missed. So I guess it was good that I ended up at this spot. Hind of Carinea. So there's a legendary animal here somewhere. Okay. Another one like the... What does it give me here? Is that a ship piece? It looks kind of like it. No, what? Oh, it's just a pelt or something like that. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, and now it shows. So I guess we'll just run past here for now. Peak. What's down there? Come on. I think we're slightly stuck here. Okay. Now we can climb properly. Looks like another camp. Simia checkpoint. Okay. And somewhere near it. Okay, so the peak is actually where the synchronization point is. I get it. So I guess we're going back up there. Oh, and there's a bear behind us that wants to play, I guess. No, no. without catching fire. That's how you do it. Just find orichalcum in the wild. This place is amazing. So, shall we see? What we can see on the map now. I think we've done... Okay, I guess we've got 2 more segments over there. Go to, and then we'll see. I should probably set a waypoint somewhere. A red badge means they might be too high. If you see a skull, be afraid. Uh-oh. That's good for difficulty badges. So guess we'll go somewhere in the opposite direction and see. What is over there? So, east, somewhere down there on the path, I guess, is where they told me that farmer went that they assumed I was looking for. I'm the farmer, I don't you down, I keep on moving down. Something like that. The song is named I'm a Farmer, right? Oh, that doesn't look good. Lots of dead. I guess if there are arrows here, this was probably a big battle. Okay, so probably not the farmer. Oh. Orichalcum. I don't think anyone will miss this, alright? Only the most precious metal in the game or something like that, or material, whatever it is. Like a bridge over troubled water. talk to. Someone who in some ways looks suspiciously like Phoebe. Gym, no outpost. Okay.
Don't take another step closer!
I should be extra careful in this area.
It's always interesting, like the big, you know, story-relevant camps usually you can approach, but every tiny camp elsewhere will go like, don't come close. Okay. I guess this is another camp. Distos Fort. Okay. So I guess there is maybe over there. Let's head there first. Oh, wrong direction. Oh, that looks nice. Excuse me for a second while I get my tourist on. Okay, that doesn't help anything. Let me just take the picture. Okay. Where is the waypoint we just placed? Huh. Oh, back there somewhere. So it's on the other side after all. I always think, oh, I must have turned around and that way managed to turn myself around. When I don't see the indicators at first. Don't just let me run past loot. See what's over there. Didn't really see that her pants are almost like tiger print. I mean, it's not, you know, it's like some metal, I think, but, and black, but, you know, something yellowish and something. Something yellowish and something black and its stripes. Okay. A slightly well guarded
I don't want to be spotted here.
Apollo temple. bunch of people there. They're all level 16. But I can at the least try if I can climb up that column. Those ancient tablets, I think, are what you use to upgrade your ship. So it's always good to grab those. Ooh, cool. I mean, I can just run across on that rope. That was fun. Okay, do we see anything else? Not really. Oh, here's an undiscovered location. So I guess we'll try to go somewhere over there again. I thought there must be like one more eagle synchronization point here, but I haven't seen anything yet. So this will be interesting. Tired, Cassandra, but it's your job in this game. Said so in the job description. Climb crazy things. Can you imagine the kinds of job descriptions that they would give for like the individual people in computer games? You know, like the job description Lara Croft answered. Must be willing to destroy priceless artifacts. Shoot dozens of people. Must be a member of a proto-assassin order. Must be a descendant of a well-known historic family. All these things. Hello. What is this? Just a campsite, I guess. How do they build those tents? I think they're just... yeah, they're just constructions of walls and supports. Okay, and then they drape fabric over them. You can get turned around even with the indicator in full view. Yeah, me too. It's just you don't really, you know, it works with the scenery for me, mostly, but, you know, like, for example, for me, I just don't pay attention, am I going east, west, or whatever, you know, I just try to head in one direction or something, and sometimes you get kind of, like, rerouted, and then you end up, you know, like, 100 meters over. Thunderstorm. Managed to get lost on one of your Wildstar plots. So that's like in-game housing, the Wildstar plot. So like, sorry. So like you buy a little area of space and build, you know, like houses on it and stuff. Don't really want to say hi to these bears right now. Okay, and where did our marker go? I'm not blind, right? There's my marker just disappeared here. It's just the main mission marker that's on another island. Ah, I guess they turned it into a city and removed my marker because I was close enough. There's another alpha animal to kill over there. If I wanted to. Well, it seems like that's all. Still looking for my synchronization. Oh, I see a mercenary off in the distance.
These ruins are a good reminder of the devastation the Persians left behind.
Alright, so where did we discover the new one? Art collector, outfooted, the blundering, that one. Throw anything at Pylaios the blundering and it would likely fall to the ground or hit him in the face. It said he broke his nose at least 3 times trying to catch something. Okay. Still too high level. So this is where we are. We barely discovered anyone on the lower tiers, which is weird.
Put your backs into it! Retre isn't going to rebuild itself! A slave's work is never done.
Okay. Okay, it's in-game housing. Yeah, that makes sense. I hope it was at least a large plot, you know, like in some games the in-game housing plots are, you know, about like 3 rooms worth of area. I think like I tried out Archie because they said, oh, it's so pretty and it has such great housing, and yeah, the housing is nice, but I just, you know, the game didn't catch my attention, or like keep it, I mean. There's a smuggler's shipwreck out there, maybe we should go there and grab some stuff, or no, let's continue like in that direction in general and see. Oh, maybe try the horse now. that follow road thing is named much more optimistically than it is. Because basically it means barrel straight ahead at top speed. Oops.
Move!
Oh. Whoops. Whoever you are, thanks for helping. Oh, too bad. Alright, loot the bear. And I'm sorry that you died. Thank you for the tip. It always looks a little funny when the loot glow comes out of their butt, basically. So let's see. It's kind of interesting, like in Horizon Zero Dawn I always found it annoying that after an attack or something I wouldn't have my horse anymore. Here I actually find myself often, you know, at least for a little bit, not actually using my horse, so I guess it would probably not have been that different. Okay, that's a fort, I guess. You know, if they hadn't had that mechanic. Well, of course, in Horizons you don't climb as crazy in every spot like here, so getting from point A to B. Involved a little more work. Okay, it's somewhere behind us. Shows up again.
It'll be trouble if I'm spotted here.
Oh. There's a cave under the fort. It's kind of funny that you know, in many multiplayer games you have in-game housing, and you know, like, it adds that base building aspect. On the other hand,
Vamos! Let's go!
you really just
Come on.
teleported here. That was funny. That looked weird. The miracle horse. Where was I? Yeah, like in many multiplayer games, housing kind of makes sense. You want to kind of have a social zone where players can meet. But that said, it's funny that you also have it in, for example, in Fallout 4. I guess it makes sense in a, oh well, we had the system already, why not use it way. Because, in Fallout, you know, you have this whole looting and crafting thing where you just go and you know, and pick up stuff all over the world and dismantle stuff and things like that. So if you're, you know, if you've already built your game engine, that you can have dozens of items in a single room that can just, you know, be picked up and removed from the game, or even, you know, like you can drop loot anywhere in the game as well, it will just lie there. So if your engine can already take that. Oh, so somewhere over there is another leap of faith point, so I guess we'll go there. Anyway, so they basically had all the mechanisms in the engine already, and you have to build bases, and I guess that was the mechanic they originally had as well. You know, you build bases to kind of like increase your influence over the world. And if they'd already had that system, then why not give you a few areas where you can do that building whatever way you please, or actually many of the areas where you build bases just double as player housing. And so in a single player game it suddenly makes sense. Or at least in that one. But now I'm kind of wondering how it would be, you know, to have a game like this one, where you actually have player housing. Apart from, you know, being able to get lost, then. Anyway, idle thoughts. It's always interesting, you know, you can put anything into a game, but the problem is the more you put in, the harder it gets for players to tell, like, which are the important parts that they should be focusing on for now, you know. And so you don't want to put too many systems in the game, because it's all stuff that people will have to learn, and that, you know, players, casual players, or players that you know, have a job that sometimes keeps them from, or other, you know, duties and chores that keep them from playing games for days. When they return to the game, you know, it's been, you know, like maybe you can't play for a month because you're traveling or whatever, and then when you come back, suddenly you have this huge game and you don't remember how to play it anymore. And so you want to keep the number of systems in a game as small as possible, so that the things that players have to remember are as small as possible. And ideally that they can, you know, like, just get back into the game and continue playing. Because the only alternative is, you know, you've spent, I don't know, 50 hours in a game, and you don't remember how to control it or something, and either you manage to find some information about it in Google, but you'd be surprised how little information there is about how do I climb down a hill in Assassin's Creed. Because they're just fundamentals where they go, well, you probably remember that from the tutorial 1 hour in. And then it goes like, well, I can go now, save my current game, start a new game, redo the tutorials, and then go back into my game. Or, you know, if I'm restarting anyway, I might have to restart the entire game. And both of these don't really seem interesting, so many people actually stop playing games at points like this. And so it's always cool. Ooh, a real haystack. Do you see that? I found a real haystack. That needs to be celebrated. A real haystack in this game. Alright, give me a second. I just have to get a little bit to drink for my dry throat, and stay hydrated bot is right. So I recommend anyone else, you know, grab your coffee, your tea, your water, your soda, whatever you tend to drink all day long. Take a sip or several, you know, drink a little cup. It's good for your health. It was like, as a kid, I actually, like, our teachers used to make fun of people who, you know, had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the lesson or something like that. And you know, they weren't very tolerant of, you know, just, they were just going like, no, not now. Or like, if you really have to, but you know, they made it, you know, they kind of tried to educate them to, you know, take their breaks to go to the bathroom. That's what they're for. And then to be there in the lessons. And but the thing I apparently took away from that was that, oh, it's a great skill to you know, to be able to hold your water long, basically. And somehow, not even like it wasn't an active thing or something, but like subconsciously it kind of trained me to drink too little during the day. And so like I would, you know, like after sports or something, you know, you would be parched, so you would drink a lot. But otherwise, like, I would just not drink enough, and eventually that ended up getting me a kidney stone, which is very painful, and you don't want to experience that if you can avoid it. And since then, I've been really making an effort to drink a lot of water. Okay, so I think we've synchronized what we can synchronize here. Guess we can go to this undiscovered location. Then we've explored the island. Anyway, and so that's why I might emphasize drinking enough a little much on this stream. Because, yeah, it's something I basically learned the hard way. It was my first operation too, so hey, yay. On the other hand, yay German health system. I think I paid like, I don't know, 30 euros for the whole thing. Maybe a little more if you count like the, you know, house shoes and bathrobe I bought for when I at the hospital, but that was like the most expensive part, not the actual treatment. So I'm really grateful for that, because, you know, you don't want to be not healthy and go like, oh, it's probably not that bad, it'll probably pass, I'll not go to the doctor, and then have a kidney stone, you know, cause more damage. Because basically, what happens is that if you drink too little, your kidneys kind of dry out. And then like all the stuff that should kind of be secreted away with, this is probably the best topic to talk about in this game, but I'll guess it's a public service announcement, apologies. Like basically the stuff that should be transported out with the urine actually like crystallizes in your kidney. like just a little bit, but you know, it's like if you have water that has very what's the English word? Not, it's kind of calcium, but I don't think it's called calcium in English in this case. There's like 3 words for the same thing. Well, anyway, so you get basically a buildup in your kidney of bad stuff, which in itself is not that bad. But you know, it doesn't, like, you don't get like sick from that or something, at least not short term. But it like causes these little crystals to build up and then, you know, clog up the pipes basically. And that's the part where it gets painful. And so just by drinking enough each day, and I think the general amount that I was told was, you know, like at least 2 liters. Which, you know, is a bit a flexible number because, you know, sometimes you eat food that has a lot of liquid in it, you know, like sauces or whatever, and then
Let's go.
you're, you know, you don't have to. Okay, so we know what this is now.
Off we go now.
So I guess we've discovered the whole island. But we still haven't found that cultist. Where are you? So that's the guy with the huge ship that kicked our butt last time. So we'll probably wait until we have a better ship. Attica silver mine. Oh, I totally forgot we already did the cultist that was here. Okay. So we don't even have to putz about here right now. Okay, here is someone in Attica. Not found in the sanctuary. Yeah, okay. So I guess we'll just go to Attica. Oh, and I forgot the.
Come on.
That was why I had that quest queued, of course, because it's it was a timed quest, right? I don't remember. Dough. Oh well. Wasn't a super important quest. Oh. There's another undiscovered location. So there's a little bit of a head start. Morning Olikhaha or Oliksaha, I don't know what the correct pronunciation would be. How's it going? I'm currently running around the world to finally get to level 17 to continue the main quest. So that's why I might be running around a little aimlessly right now. Kind of trying to you see, like, that's one of the few piles of straw that this game has. Usually they've substituted them for other things that you can jump into. Sorry, I had to drink something else and cough a little bit. That's why that pause was there for a second. Now let's see, where can we go? First we can use our horse. Alright. Much better. Timed missions over there, I guess. Maybe we should just go and check on those. I wonder like what the relevance of these timed missions are, like if it's just to make it more, you know, diverse, that certain missions only show up periodically, and to make the playthroughs a little bit different.
Here, is there something you need?
Pirates are making the waters unsafe for travelers.
Sounds like I need to sink some pirate ships.
The horizon should be clear of ships once you're done.
It won't be easy, but I'll take care of it.
Thank you, Mistios.
I should get going.
Alright, I don't really want to do ship battle right now. Or at least not urgently. So where is the other? 100 meters down there somewhere. Okay. Let's just jump down the mountain. She'll go jumping down the mountains when she comes. Well, some quests are like main missions. At some point you forget what the main mission is. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, I'm guessing that, you know, they introduced pretty early on, they introduced that whole takeover areas thing, you know, the conquest system, I think is what they call it. My guess is they will at one point tell me, okay, you know, conquer these places or whatever. Maybe that's it.
Off we go now.
Please, Oliksaha, be a little bit careful.
Move.
Like, you haven't spoiled anything to me right now, but you're getting really close, I think, to what I would consider spoilers. Oh, this is nice. Sorry, photo opportunity. So just to be aware, you know, be a little bit careful. Because I like to discover the game myself, and I don't want, you know, plot twists. And that includes like, oh, you know, you think you're going to be doing this, and then suddenly in the game, you know, these 3 paths open or something. So to just, you haven't done anything wrong, so you know, no need to be sorry yet, but just take care what you say about the future from now on.
Let's go.
Because kind of part of, you know, enjoying a game like this is actually, you know, discovering where they want to take you. Because, you know, like the writers, you know, made a nice effort into, you know, making you think the game will be like this in the beginning, and then maybe bringing in twists and turns. I don't know if this game will actually, like, to what degree it will have those. Certainly meeting the way you meet Alexios at some point is interesting, and something I think I expected it like 10 seconds before it was actually told, you know, kind of like that. So like they were started, you know, laying hints. Suddenly there is this Demos guy, and then at that point suddenly I got, oh, wait, what if Demos is, you know, and then basically he came in sort of like that, not quite as, you know, because it's actions I trigger. I don't know if they have a release date for DLC or something. Um,
Here, friend. Anything a mercenary can do for you?
Soldiers take our drachmi with one hand and spear us with the other. There is nothing left for us here.
So you want me to give you some drachmi?
Yes, any drachmi you can give helps.
well, any XP you can give me
Here.
helps.
Take this.
Okay. I think that was a good trade, you know, 50 drachmi for, I'm not a super fan of, you know, missions where it's like, here, come here and give me currency or something like that. It's, especially the way they're done here. They're kind of, but, you know, I guess they mechanically realized that some people had, you know, problems getting enough XP or something, or that they had a bunch of extra XP that needed to be got somewhere, and then they said, well, let's just dot the world with these extra missions.
I can't believe they stole it. Of all the things they could take.
I could steal something as well. In there somewhere?
You say somebody stole something?
Somebody stole something? Look around! Bandits took almost everything. And worst of all, they stole my family's vase. After so many generations, it's gone.
You're wealthy. You could buy yourself a new vase.
A new vase? Didn't you hear me? It's a family heirloom. You can't replace something like that.
How much is this vase worth to you?
I'll pay a substantial amount of drachmi for it. A very substantial amount. Is finding my vase something you could do?
I'll find your vase, but I'll need some ideas of where to look for it.
Speak with my slave near the warehouses. I sent him to uncover what he could from other slaves in the area. Hopefully he's learned something by now.
I'll return if I find the vase.
Alright. So I guess we have a quest. That looks good. Yeah, so I don't know about DLC dates or something. I have, you know, like this entire base game to play right now. And I think I got like, I pre-ordered it, so I think I got like the, is that Blind King thing that I've been doing on the side? I already got that. So, you know, there's enough content in this game for me right now that I'm not really looking whether and when they will be releasing more, because, you know, as long as I'm busy here, I can just play the game, and then if I hear new DLC has come out, I can at that point decide to get it. And if I get it later, it's usually cheaper, you know, so I might just go and say, hey, I'll play the base game for now, and then in half a year or something, when the prices drop, I'll just go and after I've finished another game, go back and say, okay, now I want to play, you know, Assassin's Creed differently, and add the DLC, so that I will have still new stuff to discover, you know, apart from just making different choices in the main quest.
Your master tells me you might have learned something about the missing vase.
I have, but I'll need something from you before I can talk about it.
This is kind of the context. I'll need something from you. Why would she answer? Your master is already paying me, or I don't like ultimatums. That doesn't make sense to me. Is this even English? Like, in context, the sentences themselves are okay.
I have a working agreement with your master. We're all on the same side, so tell me what you need.
You're a rose amongst the weeds.
So, what do you need?
I'm hoping that after you retrieve the vase, you'll tell my master that I told the bandits to loot the house.
Why would you want to do that?
After the summer solstice, my master plans to give me my freedom. But I don't want it. I'm hoping that if I take partial blame for the crime, I can offer my continued servitude as atonement.
That's ridiculous. But I'll think about it. Now, tell me about the bandits.
Other slaves in the area assure me that the bandits from the northern hills of Mount Ohi are the ones ransacking the nearby homes.
The northern hills of Mount Oshi. Is there a more precise place I should look for these bandits?
The slaves mentioned there's a copper mine in the area. That's where I'd put my hideout if I was a bandit.
I'm curious why you're not excited to have your freedom.
With my master, I have purpose, responsibilities, food, and shelter. All the things I wouldn't have on my own.
With your freedom, you can acquire all that, you know.
We all have different circumstances and abilities, Mistios. This life offers me the best chance of survival.
This is, I like this mission. Because it shows the dilemma, you know? That like when someone says, you know, slavery wasn't so bad, some slaves liked it. Well, they liked it because all the other alternatives for them were worse. But, you know, it's the same rationale that some countries have behind prohibiting prostitution. Because, you know, in some places they go, you know, no sensible person would do prostitution if they had a better option. And now whether that's true or not is a different discussion. But, like, the idea is that since in most cases people go into prostitution for lack of other alternatives, they do not really want to do that, and they're kind of forced into that. The downside of prohibiting it is that then these people do not even have that option anymore. And then they, usually they still, you know, like, they will still, or at least a bunch of them will still go into prostitution. But they will do it illegally, which means if someone wrongs them, they won't be able to go to the police and get protection, you know, and so they're left out in the cold. And that's, again, the argument that other people make for, you know, leaving prostitution legal. And here, this is, like, similarly controversial subject, where, you know, he says, you know, like, yeah, you know, being free, I would just be, you know, like a very low free schlub with, you know, like I would have no job security, no nothing. But if I stay in slavery, I would actually be, you know, I'm actually, I have a, you know, steady job, and although I'm horribly underpaid, you know, at least I'm fed every day. So, and it's just, like, it's an interesting dilemma, you know, like, what do you do now? And on the other hand, I like that they, you know, like, at first Cassandra takes, like, our modern point of view, which is like, why would you idiot want to do this? But on the other hand, she says, well, I'll think about it. You know, so she, you know, she has a heart. She understands that this person might be better off as a slave in this case. But really, you know, in that case, you know, like there's probably another solution, is what we found out in modern days, is where we say no, you know, even if a few people, you know, were helped, really what we should do is provide other ways to help those people, so that they don't have to go into slavery, and they're only going into slavery because the system has failed them. Um, and that's kind of I like this, that they take this approach, that they address this like this is an island full of slavers that we're on right now.
I will go find these bandits and get your master's vase.
Remember what we talked about when you return it to my master.
Many homes in Mount Ochi have been ransacked recently. The bandits are hiding out in a copper mine in the hills north of Charistos. Okay, so let's see. Where is Mount Ochi? Copper mine. We've already seen it. Okay, so we finally get to depopulate that copper mine for a reason.
The bandits are in the northern hills of Mount Ochi.
I'm kind of curious, like, I don't speak Greek, you know, like, the 5 words of Greek I know are from the napkins that they had at the Greek restaurant that kind of gave you common phrases or something, you know, so I can, like, say, like, kalimera or kalinichta, which is, good morning and good evening, or I can say, what is it, yamas, which means, like, cheers, when you're, like, toasting someone. Like, I have a few of those words, but that's about it. Efaristo, which is thank you, which you also need in a restaurant. So kind of those common phrases I know, but that's about it, what I know about Greek. Well, I know a bunch of the Greek letters from, like, maths class, but that's...
There it is. The copper mine.
Yeah. Anything else here? Yeah. Anyway, where were we? So I don't speak Greek, but you notice that they pronounce words differently. So Cassandra says Ochi, and the NPC, the slave, said I think like Ochi or something, like it's you know, they are similar but different sounds. So I'm wondering if that's just, you know, one being, you know, like a Greek descended Canadian, and the other, which is what Cassandra's voice actress is, I think. Yeah, and maybe the other guy is, you know, like Greek actually growing up in Greece and having learned English elsewhere. Because, you know, like he says vase, which I think is the British pronunciation, and vase is the American one. Something like that at least. You know, so they had lots of difference like this. There's also one other word that I kind of noticed. But I don't remember now. Anyway, so I'm wondering now if that's, you know, Cassandra's local accent from...
The mine. If the slave's right, the vase should be here.
You know, like if you think, if you take... So Cassandra came from Kefalonia in this game.
Got to be careful not to get spotted.
So maybe that's her accent. And then, on the other hand, this guy might be from the area. And that's why his accent is, you know, more... is different. That could also be it. I don't know, since I don't really speak Greek. Alright, hidden the bodies. Let's see, I think that person is not you either. That didn't quite assassinate properly. That's weird. But yeah, so I'm kind of wondering what the explanation for the different accents is, or if it's just, you know, done by different studio crews in different voice recording sessions, and you know, they just didn't have a sheet that explained how to pronounce the different words, which of course, you know, could also have happened. And I'm wondering if the dog can smell me or something, but I don't think they do. Anyway, I kind of decided to see it as, they're going to...
What was that?
Come here. Where no one can see you. Alright, that worked. Yeah, I kind of decided that Cassandra having a different accent is probably about, you know, it's just her Kefalonian accent, and the other guy has a Euboean, or whatever the country is pronounced, accent. And that's how, that's what makes it interesting.
Eh? Hello? Someone there?
Alright. Let's see. Ooh, there's the bandit leader, I guess. That guy with the golden number over his head. I don't want to assassinate him right now, because I think I can't probably take him down in one. There's his friend coming. So let's see if we can't whistle you back here like we did your friends.
What was that?
Wondering if having them this close. Oops. Makes them discover me earlier or something. Not quite sure. Another one coming by, so maybe this is how we can get the patrols.
Huh? Who's there?
Always takes me like a split second longer than I think, because the prompt just doesn't come up. many are left? So there are 3 up there. Where's the one with the dog? That kind of confuses me a little bit. Did the dog despawn or something? Oh, maybe that sleeping one there. Yeah, that's the dog. Okay, so the one with the dog is up there. You see it with the little, like, crown-like, spike-like thing that one of the 3 up there has over their head. Okay, and the boss is pretty far away, so maybe we can sneak up on the people up there. Reflexively pressed the R key to had you ever had problems with the game since now I'm crashing? No, Oli, haha. So far it's been really stable for me. That said, there was an update, like, right before I started the stream. Like, I added another update, which is the stupidest thing you can do, actually. So where did the boss go? Let's see, no, the dog will not leave us alone. Sorry. Dog has to go. Oh, over there's the boss, okay. Just keep an eye on them when they return. Yeah, so far it's been stable for me. So if you've had different ones, then if it started recently, then maybe you got the update a little earlier. But otherwise, like, I think it's been really good for me so far. I don't think I've had a... If I had a crash, it was like in like 1 or something. In... I don't know how many hours do I have here now. Yeah, this one says 37 hours, and I think I have an earlier where I tried out a few things here, which was like 3 hours. Yeah, so I'm a bit over 40 hours in, I guess. Like, I created an earlier character just to try out how the game will work or something, and if the streaming will work. So yeah, fighting Orko, like He-Man's little magician friend. He's grown. Also, I like that he's not wearing the... I like that this scythe gives me a range advantage. Come on. Oh, he's already dead. Oh, I could recruit him. What do you give me?
Accept my payment and work for me.
that worked. Oh, so that's where he went when I didn't see him.
I can't get out!
Really?
You have given me back my life, a debt I cannot repay. Thank you.
Oh, so many slaves.
Help! I owe you my life, Misthios. May the gods watch over you.
Must
Oh,
not
the
burn
leeches.
through.
Oh.
Shit!
Where did I... Was that? I wasn't even close to that. Oh, never mind. Here I keep making fun of Halvarth for setting himself on fire during Origins, but really here...
All this trouble over an old vase.
But really here, the world is so combustible, it's crazy. Usually they pick, you know, areas like that for these quest items, because that means you have to go through the entire camp to reach them. I guess he left his clubs behind before he went. Interesting. Alright. Let's have some fun looting. It's always kind of interesting. Like, I think usually it's a game design reason, but how they, you know, how there is a delay before you finish actually collecting like the last item, and then that it triggers the message. You know, it depends. Like sometimes they've had issues with, you know, messages showing on top of each other. You had some crashing from day one when you bought it after like 6 hours, but recently nothing, and you don't know, but at least you weren't the only one. Yeah, no, I didn't, like, like, for me, I don't remember having any crashes. Like, it could have been that there was, like, one odd one where suddenly in the middle of the stream it just went poof, and then I just went back in and it had saved, so, you know, an inconsequential thing. And, you know, it wasn't like, oh, if I go at this point, it always crashes or something. It was just, like, if at all. I don't remember having one, but, like, I'm the kind of person who would forget, like, a single crash. And, like, only if a game, you know, repeatedly crashes or I lose data, like save games or something, then, you know, I would really remember it. But this one so far, rock solid for me. So, yeah. In general, about those two, you know, Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, my experience with them has been that they're very well made, and both have their advantages and their downsides in my eyes, but, you know, it's nothing where I would say, like, I want my money back or anything like that, which, you know, is an exceptional thing usually anyway. Like, having, like, they're really well done, and you can, like, get through them pretty easily. Like, by easily I mean, like, you know, there's no showstoppers or.
Can't believe that slave wants me to lie for him.
It's interesting that she says this message. I guess they put it something like, if you're halfway to the objective, say this. Anyway, where were we? Yeah. So I hope you didn't lose any save games in that crash either. That's always like the most annoying part, you know, you've spent so much time playing and then, you know, you lose progress. That would make me angry at a game. Like, a game can, you know, if it, you know, like every, I don't know, if every few hours of gameplay the game crashes, like, once, but then you can just load it up again and continue playing where you were. Or maybe, you know, like, have to do, like, the last, you know, like, start the last conversation again or something like that. Something trivial that's not, like, do the boss fight over. Then, you know, I'll just go, well, you know, shit happens. I mean, if it, you know, like, regularly crashes, even if it's inconsequential, I will probably, you know, like, mention it to people and go, well, this game is kind of crashy, but the crashes aren't bad. You know, so it's just a little annoyance that you have to relaunch the game each time. It also depends on how long a game takes to load. You didn't, but it was weird because you have enough RAM for this game. Well, crashes aren't always RAM, you know, it's, crashes generally just mean that, something went really wrong internally in the game. And, like, if you were a programmer that doesn't watch out how much RAM they ask for, then your game might easily crash. It's also on modern operating systems with, like, virtual memory, where, you know, like, if you don't have enough RAM, you actually write out parts that haven't been used for a while to the hard disk, and then, you know, swap, I think is what it's also called. I don't think I know. I was just thinking, like, what does Windows always call it? And I think on Windows it's usually called swap or scratch, not virtual memory. But yeah, so crashes can have a lot of reasons. You know, because well, for example, imagine you had a table and you put, like, what is it, like, vases on it, or like glasses for, like, each person that you've invited to your party. And so each vase is kind of an object in the game. And then, you know, someone calls you and says, oh, I can't come after all. So you take away one vase.
He's a good bird.
But forget that that person said they didn't come. And then someone else calls you and says, and then you call someone else and tell them, hey, I remember you wanted to come, but I said, well, I only have 8 seats at my table, so you can come now. And that person says, sure, fine, I have time, I'll be over in a second. And you take a new glass for that person and put it there. Because, you know, like, maybe one person prefers, you know, soda and the other one prefers wine, and so you put a different glass there. And so when you, and then you have a list of all your guests on which you added the new guy but forgot to cross out the guy that left. And you give that to someone and says, here, this has the list of the people and who is at which glass. Please fill their glasses. I've marked, like, which drinks they prefer. And then that person just blindly goes to the list, and that's what your computer does if you give it, you know, code that tells it what to do. It just blindly does what you tell it. And of course, since there are 2 entries for, you know, that one chair, for the person that said they couldn't come, and for that person that said they can, they will now be coming instead, they will, you know, pour both drinks into the same glass. So there will be soda and wine mixed. Now the thing is, if the person who preferred wine was the first one that isn't coming now, then you have a big soda glass there, and maybe if you only make the glasses half full, then this one glass will be full of a disgusting tasting mix of wine and soda, whereas all the other glasses will be half full. Which isn't a problem, you know, if you refill, it doesn't go flat as quickly or whatever. And so you're getting away fine. But if you did it the other way, if it was the other way around, if the second person that's coming is the wine lover, then they will pour, you know, there will be wine in that glass, and then they will pour soda on top of it, which is more, and the glass will overflow. And that's kind of when the system then goes, wait, the glass overflows, I don't know how to react to that, crash. Because, you know, like, you never told, like, there's no way to tell the computer how to react in such a situation, because it should never happen. And that's kind of how many crashes happen, you know? That they are, they happen under certain circumstances, and maybe in the code there, someone accidentally in like 5 places where you deal with how people leave, you know, like one people maybe storms out angrily, and the other person calls ahead and says, I can't come. And yet another person maybe says, oh well, I just got a call, I need to leave now. And in each case, you know, you make a note, okay, remove their glass from the table and, you know, call someone else who can now sit at that table if it's available. And that's kind of how memory is used, you know, like parts are reused, and so it can happen that by the time you remove an object but forget to take it out of the list, that by that time another object is already in the spot, and you will not even notice that you just poured a drink for a person that is not there. And you'll get away with it for a few hours or something, and then, you know, because that person doesn't drink as quickly or whatever, I'm stretching this metaphor badly, you know, it will finally overflow a glass. Or like, because the third person is finally someone who only likes shots, and the shot glass is just too small to hold any of the other drinks. Something like that, you know. Okay, so yeah, you had the latest GTX update for your 1060, and you downgrade the graphic card, and it worked with no problem. And it's always ID from NVIDIA when games do that. Like one time you had the latest update from NVIDIA, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 gave you blue screen, and I was like, okay. Yeah, it's the thing is, it's the problem is that, you know, you cannot. You might not be able to test all the weird combinations in which you can trigger such a bug. And so it could be that, you know, like in testing they found a few bugs and like found a few places where they forgot to cross the name from the list. But there was just this one obscure case where, you know, they didn't actually test. Because, you know, how often does someone storm out of your parties? Probably not very often, you know, so it's like, or, you know, maybe they say, well, since it happens more rarely and we only have this many hours of testing left until the game ships, we will just say, okay, we'll test, you know, like these other spots that happen more often 5 times, and for every 5 times we test these other spots, we'll test that one time, like after every change, you know, and things like that, like every 5 changes they will test it, and then someone makes an emergency last minute change. So it can happen that just the game has a bug, and depending on your setup, depending on your graphics card, depending on even other bugs that might interact with the same parts of the system, you know, I might have just gotten away with it running fine, you know? And like most people might not have a problem because I don't know, maybe I, you know, like depending, some bugs can be triggered by like how you push a button. Like if you hold a button, for instance, that like if you keep tapping buttons to sidestep or something instead of just holding them, then maybe, you know, different code runs, because the one code is someone pressed it down, released it immediately again, okay, so just take a single step, and the other one is runs the someone pressed down, and then, you know, someone is holding is different code, which, you know, just seems to continue these steps until they get the released. And so well, I'm kind of not putting enough effort into explaining what I mean, but like in short, you know, different codes runs when you do different things, and so there may be different bugs. And again, since there are so many programs running, you know, there's your graphics card driver, there's the game itself, there is, you know, like Windows, you know, like other parts of Windows that might be running at the same time, and I don't know, like asking the screen for information, like how large are you or whatever. And all of this is running at the same time, and so if two of them interact with the same thing at roughly the same time, and one of them has a bug, or even both of them has a bug that is usually alone inconsequential, in combination they might suddenly trigger something. You know, like if you alternate between filling one person's glass and the other person's glass of the two persons that are, you know, quote unquote sharing the same seat at the table, because one is not actually there. The person who gets it might just find it funny that they alternately get wine and soda.
Have a good flight.
And might just, you know, like drink it each time. But then the person goes to the bathroom, and during that time the glass gets filled twice. And when the person returns, you know, it says flowed over. So it says overflowed. So that's kind of oh, sorry. I always keep running into people instead of up to. And they've made the animation so you just rudely brush them aside, which is really mean. Anyway, yeah, so crashes can happen to one person, not to the other, of course, and it's inherent to how computer programs work, basically. And so, you know, like, it's not that NVIDIA, you know, they make changes to their graphics cards exactly so, you know, that if a game ships with a bug or something, they actually add workarounds and things like that, which really is a nice thing of them to do. And they work with the game developers to figure out how they use it, and then, you know, optimize their graphics card code to work better with those games. Like, mainly for the, you know, big AAA developers or something. But still, you know, there is some collaboration, and, you know, NVIDIA kind of want you to buy an NVIDIA card and not one from, I don't know, ATI or whatever they're called right now. So that's why they provide this extra service for you, because they know that their people, you know, will play the AAA games, and then if people get used to hearing, oh, it runs better on NVIDIA because they adapt their games for, and you know, do additional fixes, then, you know, it'll just be fine. And people will, you know, like, buy theirs because they say, well, I buy the graphics card for roughly the same price, but this one I know, you know, my games will run better on, so of course I'll buy that one. And so there's always yeah, so they don't carelessly update stuff, but there can still be crashes just because there's millions of ways to build a PC, and they cannot try all hardware combinations. So it could be a hardware issue, it could be some extra software that you have installed, it could be some software that you've deinstalled that is not, you know, accessing the same parts of the computer at the same time, and thus, even though the game is doing something wrong, it just never has any consequence because nobody else relies on this value that they've set wrongly or whatever. You know, there's millions of reasons why it might not crash for you, or another game might crash for only you and none of your friends and things like that. It's actually a really interesting part. Like, if you learn programming a little, well, in some way it'll stop becoming interesting. It'll become more of an annoyance. But it's, you know, like, if you're programming, like, writing a program is half of it, and the other half is figuring out what the hell went wrong with the program and fixing it. That's like all programmers. For all programmers, it's like this. You write a program and then you need to fix it. You write a program and then you need to fix it. You rarely write a program and it's immediately correct, you know? You might think it's correct at the start, and then a month later or something you find out, oh wait, I forgot this edge case or whatever, or there is this new hardware that has a problem, or, you know, you're also shooting at moving targets, basically. Anyway, let's finish this mission.
Have you found my vase?
Yes.
That's great news. Who took it?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie that he stole it. Because, you know, who knows what he will do to his slave when he thinks he's stolen things, you know? I don't think... Yeah.
It was taken by bandits, hiding in the copper mine north of here.
Well, you returned it, so at least there's some justice. Here's the reward I promised.
You know, your slave is very loyal. You've already granted him his freedom, but I think you should keep him on. He may even want that.
Is it true? You want to stay?
Yes, I do.
Then why didn't you say something?
It's not a slave's place to question his orders. Isn't that right, Misthios?
Even though you're a slave, your life is still your own. You should have just asked your master to stay.
Please accept my humblest apologies, Master. I will never do it again.
All is forgiven. It worked out the way it was supposed to.
Oh, thank goodness that went right. I was so scared something bad will happen. It's, kind of weird because I think they forgot, like, the... Sorry. Didn't hit the mute button there quickly enough. What was I? Yeah, nobody really said, explicitly, you know, like, Cassandra knew it, I knew it as the player, but, like, in the game, nobody ever said that, you know, he tried to get us to lie for him. I guess it's... I don't know, the writing feels kind of... like, there seem to be a few spots here where, I don't know, maybe it's, you know, maybe they had changed some of the writing and couldn't change the recorded dialogue, and then they just cut out sentences or inserted sentences from, you know, other missions, or you know, truncated some sentences for it to make sense. But yeah, it felt kind of it didn't quite follow that he would apologize in this ways and said he will never do it again. You know, what, not ask? It's kind of, it felt a little weird. But hey, everything went well, so that's good. So let's have a check. What do we have here? We have a level 16 sword, but I'd actually rather upgrade our amazing sword here, I think. What else do we have? We have an ornate staff. We'd have a javelin instead of, but again, I want to keep my scythe. Similarly here, we have a bunch of level 17 things that we can't use yet. So I guess we'll go to the blacksmith and sell and or dismantle a few things. Oh wait, what was there about my ship? 3% arrow damage. Oh. We have you twice. Dismiss. That's a bit weird that, you know, like they're, I guess, you know, the lieutenants you recruit are basically, you know, like cards in a game. Okay, Bones, have fun at your meeting and have a good lunch. See you. You know, they're essentially like random items that you just get when you recruit an existing guy. Plus 6% firepower when ramming, plus 3% firepower when ramming. Guess I can dismiss this one. Because it's the same. Although I don't really know why would I want firepower when ramming. Like, generally arrow damage, yes. But, oh well. And we're 26 of 30. So about 4,000 XP is what we still need to be able to continue the main quest. So let's see. What else can we do to get to 17? These are all more long-term things. Caledonian Bear will need the healing ability, I think. Oh, that's something I saw that I completely overlooked. If you check here, there is actually a second wind. I always read that as you know, a passive ability, but now that I look at it, yeah, it's an active ability. It has the little dots around it. I always read that as a passive ability, which is, you know, which I thought, like, if your health goes low, you'd have a likelihood of, you know, refilling your health again. But what it really means is you push a button and you get 25% health back at the cost of adrenaline, I guess. So I should actually equip that, because then I can, you know, even if my health goes low, I can fight longer because I can put the health back up. And since I misread that, I might be able to take the boar with that, but not without it. Right, and I wanted quests. Let's see. We could try. Some pirate boats for 23 hours. But I haven't really seen any pirates recently. Huh. I guess we'll just run around here and find something. Where is Treasures of the Deep? That sounds good. Oh, we haven't done this undiscovered location yet.
Need something?
Riches await the brave, Misthios. A chest of gold and silver, and gems, countless gems.
Where is this chest?
That's the problem, Misthios. It lies on the seabed. I'd go after it, but cursed sharks make it impossible.
And you want me to gut all the sharks?
Yes, all of them must be gutted. Do you accept?
I'll take care of it.
Ha! You really are a brave one.
I'll come back when I'm done.
Alright, so let's take that one. Kill sharks all over Greece. Oh, it's that one. It's not actually one you just do here. Oh, that's bad. Oh. I thought it would be, you know, like a mission like we had earlier where it said go to this place, there's a treasure chest, and you know, get the sharks there. It's always a little bit of a pity. Let's go up there. What I was meaning to say was, yeah, it's a bit of pity that this mission wasn't one, you know, that is local that we can just do, because those bigger missions are good to, you know, like have in your queue to eventually get some extra XP.
Let's hope no one notices me here.
Oh. But, you know, all over Greece, if that really means not just kill 5 sharks, but kill sharks in 5 places, then I'd first have to find 5 places with sharks. I was a little worried in the beginning when there were so few olive branches and was going like, so how am I supposed to craft arrows? But different from Horizon. Altar of Poseidon. Is there a bear just walking in there?
I'm ready for you. Go!
Interesting. I guess, is that a bandit camp or something? Oh, that's an ancient tablet, I think.
Did I see something?
There.
Back to my post.
Didn't really say. anything either way. But I guess this is Assassin's Creed. We can probably just kill someone.
Who was that?
I'm so glad that worked. When I originally pressed the button, it looked like I would just be attacking them.
We need to check this one out. Stay alert.
Okay, I think they found a dead guy.
Something's out there.
So I guess we did the important thing.
Nothing to worry about.
Can I get the guy without his dog?
Guess I better take a look.
Oh no, I guess I can't get you without your dog. Alright, I think we got them all. So let's just loot. Okay. 700 XP. Well, we're getting there, I guess. Where were those ding-dings? Over there. Over here. Okay, so I guess we've got everything. Level 35 mercenary. Guess we could go there. No. No, it's a little finicky if someone dies on like falls off. What is it? The one of those synchronization points. Then you get this little box next to it showing their name, or maybe it's someone takes a photo. I don't know what these squares actually are. In the previous game they were someone died there, but I guess these are actually the photos people take. Now that I think about it. She should have so broken all of her bones. I guess landing flat means the impact strength is distributed all over the body, so it's actually the healthier way to land than, you know, hitting your head by, you know, doing a swan dive directly. But I still think, like, even if it's a pile of petals this large, I'm not sure it's actually thick enough to keep her from serious harm. Just as a data point there for anyone who's been thinking about trying to imitate a game. Which of course everyone does, because, you know, people... That's what people do, right? Somebody tells them something and they do it. I don't like the silly theory of, you know, like, people imitating everything they see in games. You just... I mean, admittedly, you know, like, you should present it. Yes, as a kid, you know, I ran around with a shirt draped over my back and pretended I was the Hulk, or things like that, you know. These are, you know, children will try to imitate stuff, but this is not a game for children. This game has, like, what, an age rating of, what, 12, 16? Spartan soldiers, bounty on Athenian ship, Athenian soldier, dangerous fangs, predatory beasts. No more red. Our land is infected by the red plague. Kill those Spartans. Searching for inspiration. Are you brave, adventurous, heroic? I'm bored. Comes his hawk to me. What? I'm bored? Let's see. Sparta's wrath. Athens' military must be weakened in an enemy state before it grows too powerful. Guess I'm a bit too picky here. Let's see what this mission is then. A lot of these missions seem to be... Oh, sorry, far away. You know, there's... it shows you, like, this animation when you run into an NPC. Shows you what kind of a game in general Assassin's Creed is. In general, Assassin's Creed is a game about, you know, attacking and fighting. So she would just push them away rudely, which, you know, in a peaceful situation like this, is totally unproportional.
The warehouse is off limits.
I need those records.
And I need 3 fewer daughters. But we don't often get what we want, old friend.
You know, what you could have done in a game, like in a different game, is you could have taken oh, sorry. Yeah, see again. Like, you could have just done it that you know, like, your character kind of like sidles by the other, and maybe the other one avoids you as well. You know, kind of that thing. You could have made this. It would have been just as quick. You know, just people avoiding each other. You know. Like maybe, oh, pardon, or something, you know? Or excuse me, or something, you know, like, it could have just been a normal interaction instead of rudely pushing someone aside. But in the earlier games, it totally made sense that, you know, if you're running through a crowd in London being chased by cops or whatever, then you would push aside people. So that's the animation they added, and that's what they stuck with. But the more you go through peaceful areas or try to be inconspicuous, they would actually, you know, like another animation would actually make sense. So but it's interesting, you know, like, you don't want to make like a long animation, because then passing by someone by accident will always slow you down, which you don't want, you know. But on the other hand, it seems unrealistic if you could just walk through people as well. So yeah, I guess sometimes adding more realism makes it unrealistic.
What's going on?
I'm here to check the warehouse's taxation records, but I'm being refused entry.
This matter is out of my hands.
Fine. The wheels of Evia will be greased once more. How much will it cost to get me the records?
That's not going to work this time, Agapios. The guards are under strict orders to not let anyone in or out of the warehouse. It's an order they will enforce, my friend. Take my advice. Stay away from that warehouse.
That's the same guy we saw
Lucky
before.
your friend warned you.
Haha, he's just as corrupt as the rest of Evia. I fear there's nobody honest left.
So Evpia, that's a Greek thing, that like the EU starting, or the sound spelled by an EU is actually like EV, Ev, there. So that means Zeus would really be pronounced Zeus. I know that from an interview with some of the voice actors from this game, actually. So in many cases they will pronounce stuff exactly as it would have been pronounced in Greece, like he just did. But what they did in some cases, like Zeus, the Zeus statue in the beginning, was that they went, well, you know, this game is in English, people will be playing it in English. If we pronounce the name in Greek, nobody will recognize Zeus as being Zeus, unless they are like Uli and have the subtitles on, maybe. Then they will go like, oh, interesting pronunciation. And so that's what so sometimes they took slight liberties with Greek pronunciation, but in general they tried to make stuff pronounced like it would be in Greek, which I find a nice touch, you know. It makes this world, you know, this world is kind of distant already, and it kind of makes it feel more real if you, like, in the beginning I thought like accents, you know, are silly, kind of just, you know, assume it's all translated into English anyway, so give us an, you know, at worst like an equivalent English accent, you know. Like maybe have parts from some part of the town speak with an Irish accent and others with a Scottish one and other one with, you know, like London or whatever, you know, just to give the same, you know, communicate the same things. Like, I don't know, you know, sometimes accents are used to convey like which social strata someone is from, which of course can be very hurtful and a very broad generalization if you just go like, oh, everyone who doesn't speak, you know, Queen's Received English but has like a thick London accent must obviously be stupid, and then you go, no, they're just normal people, they speak in the accent since they've been a kid, and it's just how they speak locally. It doesn't imply intelligence or not.
Not all mercenaries are cutthroats. I can be trusted.
That remains to be seen.
What's causing the corruption?
A group called the Daker are strangling Evia with their greed. They work from the shadows, controlling the nation with bribery and blackmail. The other reason I need the taxation records from that warehouse. I'm following a parchment trail which I believe will lead me to the person behind it all. But I'm too old to be breaking into guarded warehouses. Perhaps the shine on my drachmi can convince you to do it for me, huh?
I'm not sure if that's again like it's a coming in. I didn't like the accents, as I said, because it just seemed like, you know, silly and actually distancing you more from it. But as you know, like I've spent 40 hours in this now, and it actually helped my immersion in the long term. It just put me off initially. And I also don't like on TV shows or elsewhere, when they, like take totally normal sayings and, exchange a word or something to make them sound more old-timey. Now that said, he just said parchment trail, which obviously is a paper trail, so it's a kind of modern expression, really. But I don't know. It's one that they might have even used, 4,000 years ago, or what is it, 2,400 and change, something like that, So I think it's okay here. So I'm often surprised that they do things where I would go, oh, I don't really like that. I wouldn't do it. It always comes across silly, and they just about manage to pull it off. Like parchment trail. Parchment and paper are different things, and they don't really have paper yet. And if he had said paper trail, I would probably have gone like, oh, that sounds too modern. I don't know. But I mean, usually, like we don't distinguish between, we say, oh, we found an ancient parchment, but you could also say, well, they found papers from the king of Spain or something from the, I don't know. So it would totally work to just say paper here.
I'll get the records for you.
Perhaps there is someone left in Evia who can be trusted.
Where can I find the records you're looking for?
I'll need a lot of evidence to find the person behind the dagger. One set of records won't be enough. They'll be scattered around the warehouse. And be sure to check the guard captain. Anything important he'll have on him.
What can you tell me about the man behind the dagger?
Other than he may not be a man, only his reputation is known. Cruel, driven by greed. A living noose around the neck of Evia. If we can't find out who he is and stop him, our fate is that of Eretrias. Total ruin!
The dagger? Dramatic name. Any particular reason?
They stab at Evia without honor. From the shadows, unseen, bleeding our nation of its lifeblood. A dramatic name, perhaps, but apt.
I'll find the records. The guards don't stand a chance.
They don't deserve a chance. For Evia to survive, corruption and those who spread it must be crushed. I'll wait for you here.
All right. Oops.
Warehouse grounds.
All right.
The warehouse. There's the warehouse dock.
So that seems like a bigger... It's interesting, it seems like a slightly bigger version of the bandit camps and things we've done before. Or well, at least one of the big ones, not really necessarily that much bigger. Okay, so I guess we got everyone. Let's go on the other side just in case. I mean, it usually looks through walls, but it's always like sometimes I have the feeling that people spawn on other sides after all. Although it might just be that it's, like if one of the guards is despawned and respawned, that then they lose track of them. And I guess they could justify that with saying, well, it adds an element of surprise and, shift changes happen. And I so love this effect when everything folds out like this. Oh, okay, that is the warehouse already.
should try to... Now to find those records.
Those records. Have you asked the Columbia Record Club? Oh.
Better check that out. Just me looking for trouble again.
Okay. So I guess they weren't really... That wasn't really a good stealthy spot. Come on. To get on the awning? No. Let's see, maybe over there might be a good place. Oh, good. There was a gap in the fence. Nice. This is kind of like this whole parkouring system in Assassin's Creed Origins is a lot, I would say, trust-based. You know, you occasionally unintentionally find spots like this, where you just go, well, I might be able to jump over it, and then you see, oh, there's actually a gap at this spot, you know, and you can kind of trust in the game developers doing the right, like providing you with affordances to get over, and with paths to a certain point. Loot treasure, kill captain, burn war supplies. It is the docks of Chalkis City in the southwestern Dirfi foothills. Yeah, this is the Chalkis warehouse. Alright, so I guess...
Amistios! Destroy the records before they claim them!
What? Did someone see me? I'm a bit confused what that call was. Okay, so something is at the docks. And there is the boss. Where's the third one again? Oh, underneath us, okay. Alright, let's see if we can... we get... Oh, I think we might be able to get in there. They're all blind things. Oh no. That's not good. That wasn't good.
She's dead! To
Oh,
the death!
No, I want to get out of the window. Come on.
Look! There she is! She's almost 40!
I think I might be failing this mission if they really start destroying evidence. Music's interesting too.
Sign out! I'm on it!
seem to be much more watchful than usual. I don't get this. I guess we'll have to eliminate one after the other. I think.
Where did that come from? What's that?
I like how they did this animation. Basically, you can be in a secret spot, and she will jump out, grab someone, and then jump back in her spot. And that's a good way, you know, to have like the animation seem really dynamic and still not take you out of your hidden spot. And like they could just have, you know, like every character has like a dot on the ground where they're actually standing, and then there is the actual object on top of it that is placed relative to this dot. So like if you take a step forward, then of course like the dot is like at your back foot basically. But then as your weight transfers forward, the dot kind of moves under you, so that when you're standing still, the dot is again under you. So the dot kind of moves fluidly, even though the character does steps that are kind of, you know, like a bit forward, a bit forward, a bit forward. So basically the individual steps only happen in the animation, and your character moves smoothly forward, which is how it works for people, you know. But like there's this undulating thing that we do when we walk that isn't really that is only done in the animation basically, which also means you don't get seasick as easily from playing most games. But and so this means that with this attack animation, what likely happens is that your character's position is not actually changing. Like your character is still in this spot, and just the animation on top of it jumps like so far forward that like the dot is like 2 meters behind the character, assassinates someone, and then drops them back here, so that at the end of the animation you again on the spot that you're actually standing on. That's a very common trick. Alright, so let's see, how can we... I wonder if I can... If you will come to the window.
Sounds human. Better check it out.
Are you coming out? Oh, you're coming out. Okay, I can do that as well, I guess.
Good God, you're fast.
Oh.
She's mine. Victory!
Okay, that's not good. I think I should run.
I have you now. Shit, you're fat. I trained for this.
I trained for this? Did you?
Straight. Let's fight. Yes, sir. I won't let you win. I'll crush you.
I'm not being too stealthy today.
You're getting out of range.
Oops. Are they trying to climb up to me? No. Okay.
Together, now. We'll get her.
can't believe this worked the second time.
Spot anything?
An easy target! Forward!
Well,
Coward! Get back here!
I guess I've been spotted too much.
There's no time to wait. Absolutely.
Oh no, and the bounty hunter is actually here. Who is it? Follower of Poseidon. So let's see. Tier 8, level 15. Okay. That's something we might be able to deal with.
Not the search. Come on! You are so outmatched! My lucky day!
Okay, I really need to get away here now. Somewhere where they can't see me. Somewhere. No, no, no! Don't die on me here.
There she is! I'll catch you yet! Give up already.
Just want to be quiet enough. Come on, heal, heal. Heal, damn it.
The bounty on your head is mine! Come on! I'll do it. Can't you do any better?
All right. Bounty hunter is still there. That's fine.
What do you see? Report. Nothing. They've vanished or something. Keep looking. They're probably long gone by now.
Probably long gone. That would be nice.
I'll kill them or die trying. Just give up! I found her!
Oh, damn it.
Get them!
Oh. Not two of them. That's not good.
Give up! I hope there aren't more of them.
Okay. But it's one, so that's usually when our stream ends. So we'll try this again tomorrow. Looking forward to it. This looks like fun. Kind of hoping that the bounty on my head will be gone when I reload tomorrow. But you know, it was fun to just drop down here and kind of, you know, be a little noisy in our stealth attacks today. So tomorrow I'll try this proper stealth, I guess. Thank you for watching. And I hope I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's stream will be a little shorter because I'll have an appointment somewhere. But see you then, I guess. Bye-bye.